Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars. SoundCartel. There's a new cyber attack in Australia every 8 minutes. And some say 3 in every 5 businesses have already been attacked. So how is your cybersecurity? And are you giving it enough thought? From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. Adam Selwood is the Chief Technical Officer and co-founder of Cynch Security. He says the situation is only going to get worse, but that every business working over the internet can take steps now to avoid a possibly crippling situation. Adam starts by explaining to me what the cybersecurity landscape looks like now for Australian businesses.
Look, the situation's rapidly evolving, and it always has been, and it's certainly, it's not getting better yet. There's still a lot to work on. The stats out of ACSC, so the Australian Cybersecurity Centre here in Australia, are quite daunting. They suggest that there's one new cybersecurity incident reported to them every 8 minutes in Australia. So it's wow. Rapidly happening. It's constantly going on. And certainly in our own research, we've seen that 3 out of every 5 small businesses in Australia have experienced an incident locally where they've actually had to engage someone outside of their business to help them. So go to their IT person or go out to a security professional to help them to respond to that. So it's systemic. It's everywhere. It's certainly a major issue, and it seems to be accelerating. It doesn't seem to be slowing yet, even though we don't hear about it every day on the news. It does happen every 8 minutes, apparently.
Why the rapid increase in cybercrime to this level and, as you say, getting worse?
So the rapid increase comes with the rapid adoption of technology. So businesses, I don't know if you know of any businesses that are offline nowadays, but it certainly seems as though every business is online, particularly following the situation of the last few years, everyone having to work remotely, adopt payment services, do things online. It's just, as you adopt technology, you introduce risk, and that risk is something that criminals and anyone else with an axe to grind is going to chase after.
We hear of big businesses being targeted, but how are things going for small businesses in this space?
We do hear about the big businesses being targeted constantly, and that's because they're big. It's because they're fun to talk about in the news. But the reality is that every business has been targeted constantly. Criminals aren't. Some of them are targeting big businesses just for the big payoff, but the vast majority of them are just targeting anyone and everyone. And there's a bit of a belief out there that small businesses are too small. No one's really interested in them. Why would they attack a small business? And the reality is that cyber criminals, they don't care about small businesses at all, but they see an opportunity and they go for it. So they're scanning the internet. If you haven't updated your website or if you're using email at all, you're going to be attacked. They're not targeting you specifically, but if you do the wrong thing or an accident happens, all of a sudden you do become a target, and that's when they'll focus their energy towards an organisation, and that's when we start to get unstuck and see the real harm being caused at the end of the day.
Can you give some examples of cases that you've been involved with?
Yeah, sure. There's a never-ending creative array of different incidents that are occurring all the time. Everything from people's social media accounts being taken over and being used to send spam out to clients and customers. Certainly we hear a lot about and help businesses with email-based attacks in particular. So everything from just someone pretending to be someone else, sending some account details that they want updated, and then all of a sudden money being transferred to the wrong account can be really devastating in a small business context. That's one in particular that we see very regularly. And also we see small businesses being used as a bit of a Trojan horse to get into larger organisations and government. So we were talking to a business that is very small, but their email account had been impersonated and it had been used to target a larger organisation. And that caused them quite a lot of concern. It was a problem then for the large organisation that one of their clients that they were responding to had lost trust in this small supplier of theirs. And so that's going to be a situation where their reputation is undermined. They've had to stop working on their own business to solve this problem, and really throws into disarray everything that's going on. It's quite dramatic in terms of the impact for, in particular, small businesses, which is really where we like to focus our energies.
Adam, can governments or the police help more when it comes to cybercrime? What's your experience?
Yeah, I think we can all help more. I'm not sure the police are in the best position to be able to help. Certainly businesses and individuals are contacting the police when they do experience an incident, and they do their best to help in that scenario, but they're not necessarily well-resourced or geared for that. There are government departments, particularly in the federal government, that help in that situation, but it's such a challenging, evolving space that it's hard to keep up with.
More specifically then, what are some of the common mistakes that businesses do make?
Yeah, probably the most common one that we see is there's an assumption that it's not something that they can act on or that they have responsibility around. We see a lot of small businesses initially think, I have my outsourced IT provider, they deal with all my technology things, and I don't need to worry about this. But those examples I gave before, just as a sample, someone's social media account being taken over, someone receiving and doing the wrong thing with an email, or someone's email being impersonated, there's no IT support partner that I'm aware of in Australia that's going to help you with that. These are the types of things that businesses need to take responsibility for and own. And, there's a certain amount of responsibility that sits there, but fundamentally it's a business issue that needs to be tackled.
That was Adam Selwood, Chief Technical Officer and co-founder of Cynch Security. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.